Today's subject is one that has gained momentum over the years, igniting conversations, inspiring movements, and transforming lives. I am honored to introduce a talk that delves into the heart of empowerment, a force that is truly transformative: empowerment of women. Empowerment is not merely a buzzword, it is a philosophy that has the potential to break down barriers, challenge stereotypes, and redefine the norms that have confined us for far too long. It is about recognizing that the power to transform societies lies within the hearts, minds, and hands of women. A truth that is not only morally imperative, but also a strategic necessity for progress in every dimension of our world. In today's episode, we are going to discuss the power of education, which not only imparts knowledge, but also fosters critical thinking, independence, and the courage to challenge injustice. We will explore the role of mentorship and support networks, recognizing that empowering women often requires a collective effort, a shared commitment to nurturing growth and resilience. As an African American resident of Paris, veterinary pathologist and toxicologist, world traveler, entrepreneur, and arts enthusiast, Dr. Monique Wells realized that though she and many others can enjoy what the City of Light has to offer, there are also many who cannot. She knows that there is a vast need to expose minorities to educational and cultural opportunities that will allow them to have a richer, more rewarding life. She has figured in the 100 Phenomenal Black Women Fundraiser Award. She has figured in the 10 To Know Global Game Changers in Women's Empowerment 2018. She is one of the Black women in Europe Power list. She is also on the list of 12 global entrepreneurs to watch for. Dr. Wells is the creator of Q Time, a self care based mentoring for high achieving women. She is also the co owner of Entree to Black Paris Tours. She is the president of a French nonprofit association and, of course, the founder of the Wells International Foundation. Honored to have you on the podcast, Dr. Monique.
Thank you so much, Tej, for inviting me. This is extraordinary. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to know about what you are doing at the Wells Foundation. Could you tell us the beginnings of Wells Foundation and also a few details about the Women's Empowerment Program?
Certainly. So, the Wells International Foundation, or WIF, WIF for short, that's what I call it. We began our journey of service in October 2015. So, we're coming up
Mhm.
on our 8th anniversary. We actually began with the intent to mount an art exhibition in Paris of original works of an African American man named Buford Delaney. And we were successful at creating that exhibit and showing it in February, March of 2016. And through that first event, we were able to kick off not only our arts strategic focus area for WIF, but also our travel and study abroad strategic focus area and our women's empowerment strategic focus area. So through, how shall I say, through the travel and study abroad portion, we had several young women. Um, so to be more specific, we had 4 young women, college students, and 2 young men travel to Paris from the University of Arizona to work on a STEAM initiative. So they created an app that worked with the art that we showed at this exhibition.
Mhm.
And 4 of those 6 students got their first passport to travel, and they came here to Paris to work on this STEAM project. We also had educators, K through 12 educators. K through 12 in the United States is kindergarten through grade 12, so the very youngest to the very oldest in the primary school system. And we had seven, if I'm remembering correctly, seven women, no, seven educators, and six of those seven were women, to come to Paris to learn to integrate art into the teaching of science and math. And we got our first intern because of that program. There was a student here who was studying at the facility where we held the exhibition, Columbia Global Center's
Mm-hmm.
Paris at Reed Hall. And this young woman visited our exhibition and wrote to me to say, I'm just so impressed with what your organization is doing. May I intern with you? And we took her
Mm-hmm.
on as an intern in the summer of 2016. And we've had an intern on the ground in Paris almost every year since then. Of course, no, there was no internship during the pandemic, first year of the pandemic, 2020. And our 2021 intern was remote in Pennsylvania. But every other year, we have had interns on the ground in in Paris. So that's just one small aspect of our women's empowerment.
That is beautiful. You have touched areas that are related to art, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so, do you pick these candidates? How or do they approach you? What is the criteria for qualification?
Well, for our internship, oftentimes people are approaching us or we are referred to students. So, thanks to our very just deep and fruitful relationship with Columbia Global Centers, Reed Hall, which is part of a Columbia University out of New York. We have had the opportunity to meet young women, and young women have been referred to us because the university administration, or rather
Hmm.
Columbia Global Centers administration, knows what we do and appreciates us, and we've done many things with them outside of this relationship with regard to internships. Sometimes we are going out and looking for interns, so we have developed a relationship with the American University in Paris, Parsons Paris. We have recently forged a relationship through one of our board members with the American Business School in Paris, and another one of our board members is an adjunct professor at Sciences Po, which is one of the, it's actually at this point the third, um, what is it, what I want to say? It is the third ranked Institute of Higher Learning for Political Science and related,
Ah, okay, right.
yes.
Hmm.
And so we are gradually expanding our network with regard to universities that we can work with on the ground and universities who can support from the US students who want to come to
Hmm.
Paris to spend a summer or a semester learning.
Right. And who guides them through this entire process? Does the foundation offer emotional and logistical support?
With, as an organization, we offer the opportunity to pursue whatever project we decide the intern is going to work for. There is
Hmm.
always mentoring involved. I am personally mentoring the intern or interns, as it might be. And we generally meet weekly to discuss how the project is going, how the student is adjusting to being here, any kinds of questions or concerns the intern may have, not only from the standpoint of implementing the project that we
Hmm.
have selected for the internship, but also anything that may be personal. Um, it is always my pleasure and
Yes, because it
privilege to,
requires a certain mindset, isn't it?
exactly, exactly. And so, especially if people are coming here for the first time, traveling abroad for the first time, coming to Paris for the first time, there's a lot of there are a lot of things that need to be unpacked with
Hmm.
regard to just how one views oneself as a person in a foreign country, as a woman in a foreign country, as a woman of color,
Yes.
if that
Yes.
happens to be the case. And that often goes well beyond or is completely apart from what the intern is working on for their
Right.
internship project.
Right. You mentioned cultivating a culture of philanthropy. Uh,
Mhm.
do you also encourage this culture among the women that you have empowered?
Oh, absolutely. So philanthropy is part of a different area, if you will, of our women's empowerment work. We cater to extremely successful professional women. I, as the executive director, founder, and CEO of this organization, has made a commitment to serve very highly successful women because these women are what we call only women. They may be the only woman in their family who has ever achieved this level of success. They are frequently the only woman in their work environment who has achieved this level of success and who may be working with colleagues who are entirely male. And she may be feeling that she has to emulate men in order to be successful, that she can't really be her whole feminine self, that she
Hmm.
can't really bring everything that womanhood brings to the table, which I feel is so, so important for the advancement of society in general and of communities, smaller communities in particular. She may feel that she can't do that because she may feel that in order to succeed, she has to be like a man. She has to act like a man. And this is very draining psychologically and emotionally and spiritually. And therefore, it impedes this woman's ability to bring her best self to the work that she's doing. And so we have formed an organization. Actually, I should say, I formed an organization even prior to the Wells International Foundation called the L-Cube Alliance to address these needs. And when I founded the nonprofit in 2015, I brought the L-Cube Alliance under the umbrella of the strategic focus area of women's empowerment, or WIF. And so we have a, a program. We are implementing the program called the L-Cube Alliance in several ways. We Our tagline is lifestyle, legacy, and leading by example. And when we talk about legacy, we talk about the different aspects of legacy and how they feed into, how they inform, how they support a woman's ability to lead. So we have personal legacy, we have financial legacy, which I think is what most
Hmm.
people think of when they think about legacy. They think about, having tons of money and being able to give money and, perhaps endow
Ha-
something and have something
yes.
named after them and all of that. So that's financial legacy, but we also talk about philanthropic legacy, and this is giving of one's self. It is giving of one's time. There is a lot of when I talk about financial legacy that can really over intertwine with philanthropic legacy. But there is so much that women who do not have those huge sums of money to give, there is so much that they can do and make an incredible difference in the world. And we talk a lot about what that means when we are talking about legacy in terms of the LP Alliance.
True. Let's take a break to understand what CHEZUBA is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. CHEZUBA began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. CHEZUBA offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chezuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. CHEZUBA, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. So, talking of legacy, do these young minds, because thinking of legacy is not something that a young mind would probably think of. Is this something that you have to incorporate in your training?
Oh, absolutely. Because everything that everyone is doing, bar none, bar no person is exempt from this. Every single day of every um, of the life that every single person lives is legacy building. And when we think about it in that way, I hope that people will make more informed and conscious decisions about what they're doing every day. So, as I indicated, just in terms of the three sort of aspects of legacy that we're encouraging our women professionals to embrace, I also talk about this with our interns and encourage them to see that they are building their legacy with every single word that they speak, every single action that they take, every single project or program that they commit to. This is all building a personal legacy and personal in the sense of the individual. So when we think about that, it helps us to be more mindful about the choices
True.
that we make.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's only very recently that I have started thinking about my legacy. I've never thought about what my legacy is going to be. But when I talk to people like you, it is something that makes me realize that this is something that really really needs to be given some kind of thought and focus. Dr. Monique,
Absolutely.
let's talk about the use of technology. So, you say you have students who are traveling, students who are into a new culture, but technology also plays a large part in learnings, right? So,
Mhm.
do you have any examples of how technology has been employed in your initiatives?
Um, so so yes. So for example, the initial art
You mentioned an
exhibition,
app. You
yes,
mentioned an app earlier.
yes. So the students who came from the University of Arizona to Paris and their professor, who happens to be the director of the Center for Digital Humanities at the University of Arizona. His name is Dr. Brian Carter. Um, Dr. Carter had chosen an app called Blipar to use so that the students could create augmented reality
Hmm.
videos that worked when the actual piece of art or an image of the artwork was scanned with this app. And so
Wow.
the yes, and it was amazing to me. I'm a very basic person when it comes to technology. I'm not a gadget person. I do, we'll just say the minimum that I need to do to get by in this increasingly technological world. And this app it was a revelation to me and it was an inspiration to me. We actually recorded videos that would pop up when the piece of art was scanned. And so was either me speaking about the work or an aspect of the artist's life at the time that he painted that work, or
Mhm.
there was a spoken word artist who was reciting something that he wrote inspired by that particular piece of art.
Oh,
And
okay.
that app worked for, it was wonderful. And we had little emblems for Blip Art in the catalog and everything so that people could know which artwork would work with the app. And it was in play for several years. The technology that we used, technology advances and the app became obsolete. So it doesn't function anymore. We were not able to get the funding to upgrade. And so um, that particular application no longer works with our with our catalog or with the
Oh,
actual
oh,
artwork. Yes, and that was really too
that's
bad. Really too
that's
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So it,
it was an inspiration for me to see that, particularly to capture the minds and hearts of young people, that you can use technology for these very real things. And
exactly, yes.
we would love to use technology to help us with another initiative, which is totally separate from women's empowerment. It is called our Youth Veterinarian Initiative, and it is a STEAM initiative. And we are really wanting to incorporate gaming into this initiative to introduce Black and Brown youth, using those terms in the U.S. states, Black people, people of African descent, Brown people, people who are Latinx/Hispanic, introducing them to the field of veterinary medicine. And we have tried to get funding to create a game that would work on a tablet or a phone, or even a desktop or a laptop, to introduce these kids and captivate them with the idea that they could become a veterinarian or a veterinary tech
Wonderful.
or
Yeah.
do some other form of animal oriented activity. So, yeah, I hope that answers
Yeah.
your question about technology.
Yes, of course. Good luck with that, because the initiative is there, the uh, will is there, so it will happen.
Yes, it
Are
will.
you excited about anything? I mean, this is one, of course, but do you have any upcoming projects or initiatives that you have planned, and basically to further your mission in STEAM education and women's empowerment? Are you excited about something?
Yes, we're excited about plenty. So we have finished our second year of the Youth Veterinarian Initiative. We are looking for funding for our third year. We have served, so over 50% of the youth that have participated in the program um, are girls. And for the podcast that we've done since 2021, well over half of our podcast speakers have been women. So we have recorded 36 episodes of the YVI podcast. Um, we have 29, if I'm remembering correctly, 29 speakers. So sometimes our speakers have done a two-part episode, or sometimes they've come back and done an additional episode. So 29 speakers. Out of those 29 speakers, 23 of those speakers are women. And so we are, to borrow a phrase from the Alfie Alliance, we are leading by example when it comes to STEAM education. I am bringing women professionals in STEAM, and particularly in veterinary medicine, to the fore, and letting them speak for themselves, telling their own stories, and inspiring young people to follow in their footsteps by virtue of their example.
Well, wonderful. Very exciting indeed. Thank
Yes,
you, Dr. Monique. It was very nice talking to you, and thank you for reminding us that women empowerment is not an isolated goal. It's like a ripple effect that touches every corner of our society. And with diverse candidates and with diverse cultures, uh, a culture of respect, understanding, collaboration, you know, everybody flourishes and everybody contributes to this. But someone is needed to spearhead that initiative, and that is you at the Wells Foundation. Thank you very much for what you are doing.
thank you. Thank you for having me and for giving me a platform to talk a little bit about the work that we do.
My pleasure.